winter storm may have moved out, but we may be dealing with its aftermath for days. I'm Allison Floyd.
And I'm Tim McGinnis. The storm's affected us here at WPDE. Power's out at our transmitter in Dillon, which is why we're streaming our newscast here on CarolinaLive.com. We hope to have the power restored and be back on the air very soon. We'll get to the damage and the power outages in just a moment. But first, Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski's in the First Warning Weather Center with what's ahead.
Hi, Tim and Allison. Thankfully, this massive winter storm, a crippling winter storm, is now pulling away from the Carolinas. Take a look at the satellite and Doppler radar review. An area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere over Virginia, quickly heading out to the north and east. And already skies are clearing inland. That will progress toward the coast as we head through the night. We do have a gusty wind out there, at times up to 20 miles per hour. And with that, with all the weight of the ice on the trees and obviously tree limbs weakened by the ice that we've had and it's already melted, some of that wind could actually bring down a few of these limbs onto power lines. So we're cautious of that. We're worried about that because it may mean more power outages as we head through the night. Good news is the winds will begin to come down as we head through the overnight hours. Temperatures right now are above freezing, mid to upper 30s everywhere. They will be slow to fall tonight. In fact, through the evening, for the most part, we're above freezing. After 10 or 11 o'clock is when most areas will go below freezing. 26 for a low inland, right around 31 down by the beaches. And of course, anything that did melt today that didn't evaporate is likely going to refreeze, and that will occur on the roads as well, especially those bridges and overpasses. The good news is it gets a whole lot better tomorrow, and wait till you see what's in store for next week. I'll give you a hint. How about 70? More on that later.
Sounds really good. More than 100,000 homes and businesses are still without power all over the PD and Grand Strand tonight.
WPDE News Channel 15's Tanya Brown is live in Florence with the latest. Tanya?
People continue to lose power as ice topples trees and power lines. Crews tell me they're working around the clock to get your lights back on. This morning, the entire city of Florence, or much of the city of Florence, was pretty much without power. Some had been without electricity for more than 16 hours. Duke Energy brought in an additional 250 people to help restore power, and they've made a lot of progress, but it's going to take time. Duke Energy provides service for 51,000 homes and businesses in Florence County alone. Police and deputies are helping to direct traffic where traffic lights are out. Many drivers tell me they appreciate what officers are doing to make sure they're safe on the roads.
Oh, I think it's a good thing that and I've seen them all over town and trying to make sure they cut down on the amount of accidents that are happening and stuff. It seems like the right thing to do.
At one point, 93% of residents in Marion County were without power. Now, that's according to their county administrator. Some of them went to the hospital to get help and to stay warm until a shelter opened. I'm Tanya Brown reporting live in Florence. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Tanya, thank you very much.
Of course, we've been following the outages since yesterday on CarolinaLive.com. We've had the information here for you. I really thought that these outages would be a lot lower by this time, but we just had so many people without power.
Yeah, I was tracking them over during the overnight hours. We hit at one point about 120,000 people. Wow. We're still more than 100,000 people without power. Let's take a look right now at the outage map. This is from Duke Energy, from Progress Energy. As you can see, every county in our viewing area is affected. Looking at a couple of them right now. In Horry County, they're down to 909 people of their 1,400 that they serve who are still without power. Florence County right now, about 35% of their homes that they serve are still without power. Of course, we have several power companies throughout our area, and you can find a list of those all on CarolinaLive.com with updated power outage information. And with these power outage numbers, still more than 100,000, many South Carolinians are wondering when they'll see light again.
Some families in our area haven't had power for more than a day now. WPDE News Channel 15's Kayla DiRenzo visited one Horry County neighborhood that's in the dark to find out how they're holding up and get them some answers. Kayla?
Well, Tim and Allison, we first found out that residents on Comfort Court in Conway didn't have power when longtime resident and WPDE News Channel 15 viewer Brett Small called our newsroom this afternoon. His power's been out since yesterday at 10:30 a.m. And nearly 30 hours later, he's wondering why his neighbors across the street are up and running again, and he's still in a power struggle. It's been a long day and a half for Brett Small and his neighbors. They've been sitting in their cars with the heat running just to stay warm, and even the family dog hasn't left the car in over a day. Small's neighbor Barbara Stinson went grocery shopping on Tuesday and has now lost all her meats and perishable items since there's no electricity to keep them cold. But the frustrating part for this group is that the development across the street lost power after they did, and it's already back, while they, on the other hand, are still lighting candles to keep warm.
At least lie to me if you're going to say something, but I mean, tell me something. Don't just say I'm on the list. I've been on the list now for 27 hours.
Ori Electric. Earlier this afternoon, she took down the information residents gave me about the power situation and says the only people who should have power right now in that area are homes that are running off of generators. Hinton says the crews at Ori Electric are working around the clock to restore power fully to all customers, and that homes next to each other may have their power restored at different times. Tim and Allison.
All right, thanks, Kayla. The residents on Comfort Court say this is the longest they've ever been without power, even longer than when Hurricane Hugo passed through.
4 people have lost their lives in South Carolina from this storm, and a Marion woman is among them.
According to Marion Fire Chief Trey Cooper, a man was trying to heat the home on Upland Avenue with an oil-burning stove. The stove caught fire and spread to the home. A woman inside the home died. The man's being treated for serious injuries. South Carolina Highway Patrol says 2 other people were killed in traffic accidents on icy roads, and another died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Power outages are taking their toll on so many families across our area. We spoke with one woman in Mullins who says she's doing whatever she can to keep her children and her pets safe from the cold.
Because it's below 50 in the house right now. We have some solar panels that's actually keeping the refrigerator running right now and everything, and that's with the sun not being out, it's not really doing too good. Honestly, with the kids, we're just trying to keep them bundled up and everything inside the blankets and stuff, and keep them with like a couple pairs of clothes on plus a jacket. And as for the dogs, we've got blankets and stuff out here for them and everything, and you know, there's really not much we can do other than just put stuff out here for them.
A lot of people in that situation tonight. Because there are so many people without power and without heat, the American Red Cross opened several shelters in the area. If you go to one, you need to take things like personal items like blankets, hygiene items, things like that. In Florence County, there's a shelter open at South Florence High School in Lower Florence County, and a shelter is at Lake City High School.
In Dillon County, Dillon High School is a shelter. In Marion County, Marion High School is being used as a shelter.
There are 2 in Horry County, Beach Church on George Bishop Parkway near the old Freestyle Music Park, and the Conway Recreation Center on Mill Pond Road. As we mentioned earlier, many people without power are going to Red Cross shelters or warming centers around the area.
But some of those shelters did not open until hours after people lost power, and they had no way to find out about them. We had several calls from people wondering why the shelters didn't open earlier. WPDE News Channel 15's Mark Leverman joins us now live from the South Florence High School shelter with more on that story. Mark, you called the Red Cross and brought
Tim and Allison, Red Cross officials tell me they were set up and ready to go, but they could not officially open until emergency managers gave them the okay to do so. Now, this shelter right here in Florence, they've been open since yesterday at about 6 p.m., and they're just providing a warm place for people to go. Tens of thousands across our area are still without power as this winter storm drags on.
Freezing at home, all the power's out where we live, and it's just real cold. And they said that the shelter was open here, so we all came up here.
South Florence High School is a temporary home for 30 people without power. Here they're getting food, water, and a place to sleep. But for more than 8 hours Thursday, the shelter too lost power.
We're without power here and heat, but it stayed fairly warm in here all day long. It's better than outside.
And without it, volunteers did everything they could to keep people comfortable. Now this right here, this is the hallway people here at the shelter have been dealing with just to get to the bathroom in complete darkness. But as of about 3 o'clock, they did just get a couple generators in, and they're hoping that's going to bring the lights back on. While the generators ran, volunteers did what they could to get the power restored.
We've been calling Duke Energy all day long and have had no solution yet.
Finally, by about 4 p.m., power was restored. And residents like Terry Billings breathed a sigh of relief.
And the lights went out last night about 8 o'clock, so it's pretty cold in the house. So I'm really glad to be here, and I'm glad that they're here for us.
Now, this shelter right here will be open through the night at the very earliest, but of course everyone in Florence and all through the PD just hoping that power is restored at the very latest by tomorrow. Tim and Allison, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Mark.
And Florence County Emergency Management has fully activated its Emergency Operations Center. Tonight, they are trying to assess all of the damage that was left behind by this storm.
The center, which has been operational since Wednesday, is staffed with emergency management officials, first responders, and county officials. Teams canvassed the area today to start looking at the financial damage to county buildings and vegetation. Emergency management officials will present those estimates to the state to determine if Florence County qualifies for federal aid.
Each county will submit numbers, so there's a threshold that each county needs to meet, and then there's an overall threshold of damage that the state needs to meet in order to qualify.
Owen says it could be some time before they know the financial impact caused by the storm.
Horry County Public Schools will be open tomorrow on a regular schedule, with the exception of 6 schools in Horry County. The Horry County schools that are closed tomorrow are Aner Middle and Elementary Schools, as well as Aner High School, Midlands Elementary School, and Greensea Floyd's Elementary and High Schools. Bus transportation will not run in the Aner and Greensea Floyd's attendance areas for any students tomorrow.
All other public schools in our area are closed. That includes Georgetown, Florence, Marion, Marlboro, Darlington, Dillon, Robeson, and Scotland County Public Schools. Governor Nikki Haley is asking state lawmakers to allow school districts to be able to make the decision about whether to waive the missed days rather than having to make them up later.
Downed tree limbs on the roads are a big problem around the Grand Strand and PD tonight.
Some roads were temporarily blocked by road debris, while others had trees hanging over the roadway, like here on Antioch Road west of Conway. Road crews, firefighters, even an Horry County ambulance crew were pressed into action, clearing debris off the roads. County officials say it will take weeks to recycle all that debris, but their first concern is just to get it out of the way.
That's the main priority, is to get the access open for the roads, and we'll come back and pick up out of the public right away.
Orseer says Horry County cannot remove debris from private property. That's the property owner's concern. County fire officials ask you use extra caution if you plan to burn any of the debris that's on your property.
Many homeowners may try to clean up themselves instead of waiting for the crews to arrive on scene. But if you do plan to use a chainsaw, the South Carolina Forestry Commission recommends the following:
that you always wear protective goggles, watch for kickback from the chainsaw. Downed trees and limbs can be under a lot of stress, so watch for moving pieces when your chainsaw relieves that stress. A chainsaw operator can be pinned or injured from suddenly moving limbs. Avoid cutting over your head or from a ladder, and never operate a chainsaw without someone nearby. The roads are a major concern tonight, not just because of sleet, snow, or ice in some areas, but because of wind.
The gusty conditions tonight mean that already weakened trees and limbs will continue to come crashing down. They will often bring the power lines down with them. Highway Patrol says conditions on major roadways have improved, but the secondary roads are still a concern. What they're most worried about is someone driving at night, coming up on a downed tree or power line and don't realize that it's there. If you do have to drive, go slow and use caution.
Before you hire a company to help you remove any of the tree limbs in your yard, the Coastal Carolina Better Business Bureau urges you to do your homework so you're not scammed.
They say make sure you check to see that the company has a business license and a South Carolina license plate on the company vehicle.
Look at the truck. Ask where they're based out of. They have a local office.
Try to avoid paying money up front. The BBB also warns that if someone knocks on your door asking for work, that could be a sign that something's not right. The Better Business Bureau does have a website where you can check to see if a business is accredited. And we have a link to that on this website, carolinalive.com. Through this entire storm, we have received hundreds of photos from you, our viewers.
Meteorologist Maddie Kirker has a look at a few of them. Maddie?
All right, obviously you're having some audio issues with Maddie's microphone there, but we do have wonderful pictures that have been sent in. But you can go to carolinalive.com for a look at quite a few of them.
That's right.
Well, we are not the only ones who are feeling the wrath of Old Man Winter.
In all, more than 19 states have been impacted. This latest storm came in fast, dumping snow at a rate of 1 to 2 inches per hour from New York to Washington, D.C. And in Washington, the federal government is closed after the city got nearly a foot of snow. In Georgia, there were widespread power outages with tree branches snapping under the weight of ice. Road conditions everywhere were treacherous, and mayors and governors were issuing the same plea.
I ask you to keep telling people in the city how urgent it is to stay out of their cars to the maximum extent possible for their own safety, and also to facilitate the ongoing cleanup work of the sanitation department.
This latest blast of winter even forced the cancellation of the Duke North Carolina College basketball game last night, leaving fans of the bitter rivals bitterly disappointed.
The Great Lakes are set to break some records for ice and cold. This is a look at the lakes from space. The Great Lakes Environmental Research Lab says 87% of the lakes are now covered in ice. The last time the lakes were covered in this much ice was in 1979. Researchers say at the rate the ice is growing, the Great Lakes could set a new record sometime next week. In a mega merger, Comcast is buying Time Warner Cable for more than $45 billion in stock.
That means the top two cable companies in the country could now become one, dominating the industry with more than 30 million subscribers. It's not a done deal just yet. The merger needs to be approved by government regulators, and consumer advocates believe less competition will drive up your cable bill.
It's going to end up hitting you in the wallet. If you don't really like dealing with the cable guy, just imagine the cable guy on steroids.
There's no overlap, no reduction in competition. We don't have any zip codes where we do business in the same zip code.
Both Comcast and Time Warner believe this merger will take effect by the end of the year, but it's expected to be heavily reviewed by the FCC. Let's turn to tonight's consumer alert. Toyota announced a major recall. It includes Prius model years 2010 through 2014. The Japanese automaker says there's a problem with software that can cause the Prius to shut down while being driven. The recall also includes the 2012 RAV4, the 2012 and 2013 Tacoma, and the 2012 and 2013 Lexus RX 350 to address a separate issue.
Let's take a look now on the job front. The number of people seeking unemployment benefits rose 8,000 last week to 339,000. That's evidence that layoffs ticked up. Still, the increase was not enough to suggest the job market's worsening. Last week's figure may have also been pushed up by cold weather, which can cause construction firms and other companies to stop work.
The Obama administration says another 1.1 million Americans signed up for health insurance through online exchanges in January. That brings the total to nearly 3.3 million people. About a quarter of the people signing up are ages 18 to 34. Officials have said getting younger people to enroll is vital to keeping premiums from rising.
More men and women die of heart disease than anything else, and we've all heard that we need to eat right and exercise, as well as stop smoking to lessen our risk factor for heart disease. But there are some other things you need to know that could save your life. For example, rather than a low-fat diet, why you should be on a Mediterranean diet, and why your doctor needs to talk to your partner about what happens when you sleep. Coming up tonight at 11 o'clock, we will talk with 3 physicians to find out the 5 things cardiologists want women to know. It's coming up tonight only on WPDE News Channel 15 in a special report.
Your first warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski.
All right, thank goodness our area of low pressure that has wreaked havoc across the Carolinas for 3 straight days is finally pulling away out over the Delmarva Peninsula. Our skies are clearing, and we'll expect a very nice day as we head through the daytime tomorrow. Now, as the last batch of snow actually moved through this morning, some of you were wondering what was falling out of the sky. It kind of looked like snow. It kind of looked like sleet. It was somewhat in between. It's what we call graupel. And basically what that is you have snowflakes falling out of the sky. It hits a layer in the atmosphere where there's very supercooled air, or water I should say, that actually isn't frozen, but as the snowflake falls through that, it accumulates or kind of creates a layer around that, and it looks just like this, these tiny styrofoam balls falling out of the sky. That again is what we call graupel. Jeff Davis, thank you so much for that. All right, our current temperatures above freezing, and that's good because things continue to melt. Mid to upper 30s everywhere. As we head through tonight, it is going to get cold. Let's talk with our storm chaser, Gerard Jabali. He's out there in Darlington on Highway 52, or better known as Main Street. Gerard, right now, looks like a normal Thursday night out there in Darlington. What's going on? Right, apparently we do not have Gerard, but this, of course, is his live feed. And right now the roads do look very dry. A lot of the main roads are dry, but melting on the secondary and less traveled roads still have ice and snow on them, especially across the PD, north and west of I-95. And for that reason, as temperatures do go below freezing, there will be a refreeze of that, meaning there will be pockets of ice and snow overnight. You could be traveling on a road like this where it's nice and dry, then all of a sudden hit one of those frozen patches and lose complete control. So you have to be real careful across the PD and border belt if you're traveling at all late tonight and during the early morning hours tomorrow. Mid-20s for lows tonight inland, low 30s down by the beaches, clearing skies. Winds will begin to diminish as well. Here's a look at high-resolution futurecast. There go the last of the clouds at 7 o'clock. We're clear later on tonight. What a way to start a Friday. Lots of sunshine, chilly, but it's going to warm very quickly. You'll notice more clouds in the afternoon as the next storm system approaches our area, but during the day, it is nice and dry. Now on Friday night, we've got a fast-moving system. It's got a lot of energy with it, but very little moisture. But as it comes through after midnight, there could be a couple of showers around. I think they are off the coast by 7 o'clock. And that's a huge deal because we have the Myrtle Beach Marathon kicking off at 6:30. Those of you that are running in that marathon, if you happen to encounter a shower before the marathon actually starts, no worries. This is going to rapidly move out to sea and we'll see lots of sunshine by mid-morning and right on through the afternoon as well. Take a look at the high temperatures for the next 6 days. This is nice stuff. From 30s for the past couple of days into the 50s right on through the weekend. We're back near 60 on Monday. By the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, it will feel like spring. Up near 70 on Tuesday. How about mid-70s as we head through Wednesday? This ice storm by then, hopefully nothing but a fading memory. Can't wait to see that. Now, for those of you that are going to be in the Myrtle Beach Marathon come Saturday morning, small chance of showers when the marathon actually kicks off at 6:30, around 40. Temperature-wise, it looks perfect. Mid-40s at 9:30 with mostly sunny skies and sunshine at 12:30 and 52. There will be a bit of a wind out of the northwest at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Not so bad when the wind's behind you, not so good when it's blowing in your face. But at least for the most part, it will be dry and temperature's not a problem at all. All right, your forecast on your Friday morning. Plenty of sunshine, upper 20s inland, mid-30s at the beaches, that at 8 a.m. But as we head through the day, warming very quickly. Here's the forecast for the afternoon. Tell you what, 55, 56 never felt so good. Becoming partly sunny. It will be a bit breezy with a west and southwest wind at 10 to 15, but it's just going to feel so much warmer because it will actually be a whole lot warmer. 15 to 20 degrees warmer, in fact. Across the PD and on the border belt, becoming partly sunny, warmer and breezy here as well. Highs in the upper 40s where we still have some snow cover on the ground, Bennettsville, Laurinburg, and Lumberton. Well, we'll climb into the low to mid 50s south and east of there where the ground is bare. Here's the Grand Strand 7-day forecast. Friday night, just a small chance of a few showers. And then on Saturday, sunshine and 54, mostly sunny and 55 on Sunday. And it looks pretty dry through the early and middle part of next week with a huge warm up. Mid-60s on Tuesday. We're in the upper 60s to around 70 on Wednesday and Thursday. Meanwhile, across the PD and on the border belt, small chance of a shower on Friday night. Saturday and Sunday, we'll see lots of sunshine. Low 50s on Saturday, mid 50s on Sunday. And before you know it, well into the 60s on Monday, Tuesday. And how about the low to mid 70s as we head into Wednesday and Thursday of next week?
I'll take it.
I think everybody will take that. Get this stuff out of here. You know, we talked about this before. Snow, not so bad, but ice is just the absolute worst.
Yes, it is. Definitely. All right. Thanks, Ed.
You know, we've been updating power situations and also road conditions. I'm happy to report tonight, I'm looking at South Carolina Highway Patrol's real-time traffic information. In Troop 5, which is our area, only 2 incidents right now. So people are taking that warning to stay off of the roads. But one of those 2 incidents, power lines in the road.
Yeah.
So be real careful if you go out tonight.
And with those winds tonight, it still could be dangerous out there. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we've had a lot of viewer pictures coming in throughout this storm as people sharing with us what's going on in their neighborhoods.
Yeah, we got a lot of great photographers out there. And Maddie Kirker joins us now to show us some of those pictures. Maddie?
And that is absolutely right. We want to thank you, our viewers, for sending in lots of pictures, hundreds at that, to our Facebook page, to our website, and to our Twitter pages. So thank you again. Let's share some of those on the air at this time. Charles and McCall sent this picture, not something you see every day as you head into the state of South Carolina. Look at the snow that was falling in South Carolina. Thank you, Charles, for sending that picture to us. Now, this is a familiar sight, unfortunately, we saw all across the area today. Haley Larimore in Johnsonville sent this picture of an oak tree that literally fell on top of the roadways, and that of course was all due to some very heavy ice that fell in Johnsonville. Another picture as well sent in Florence. Andy Arthur took this picture at the First Presbyterian Church. Again, this picture of course sees that oak tree completely fallen over. Again, that was a familiar sight, unfortunately, especially because a lot of these oak trees were over 100 years old. We're going to end now with this picture sent in by Brittany Grooms in McCall, again, of the snowfall that came in through, and she even reported seeing snowflakes as big as silver dollars. Thanks again to all the viewers who've been sending us those pictures throughout the last few days.
All right, thanks a lot, Maddie.
Well, school officials in North Carolina canceled school today. We understand why, but
yeah, well, here's how they did it.
All right, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back and the roads will glisten. Polar vortex has a hold of us tightly. Wind like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will the power stop? No, I don't know. Turn up the heat and let go. Sleep falling down like a million missiles, bringing school delays and early dismissals. Dang, no school.
That is the best thing I've seen today. Vanilla Ice has nothing on these school officials in Durham, North Carolina. I love it.
I would love to go to that school.
All right. Well, speaking of Vanilla Ice, let's check in with Mark Haggard.
Mark Haggard in for Rich tonight. The Coastal Carolina men's basketball team was in Lexington, Virginia last night for a Big South Conference matchup between division leaders. Getting to Virginia was no problem, but about a foot of snow fell as CCU played their game last night. Today, the CCU team bus was stranded on their way back to Conway. On Twitter, the team reported that the engine in the bus was running and everyone was in good spirits. They even built a snowman to pass the time. Our Rich Krampanis is also having trouble getting back after covering last night's game. Now to the highlights. Coastal had to rally from 18 points down in this one. Freshman guard Elijah Wilson came to the rescue. He scored a career-high 26 points, including this key three-pointer late in the contest. 83-78, Coastal Carolina beat VMI. The Chanticleers are now in first place in the South Division of the Big South Conference by 1/2 game over UNC Asheville. Rich talked with the coach about the home stretch, starting with the Chants' next game on Saturday.
We got to think of the 5 games that we got left. We're trying to win a championship. Gardner-Webb's next, 7 o'clock at home, and we need spirit, we need energy, we need a great crowd, and even saying that, Gardner-Webb is undefeated on the road, so we've got a tough game. But this was a huge win. Extremely proud of our team. I thought their competitiveness was really strong, especially in the second half.
Out in California, it's round 1 of the Northern Trust Open on the PGA Tour. A former Chanticleer is the clubhouse leader. Dustin Johnson, after finishing tied for second last week on tour, carted a 5 under par 66 today. And college basketball in Columbia today, Cindarius Thornwell scored 19 points, and the South Carolina Gamecocks broke a 5-game losing streak, beating Vanderbilt 65-59. And that's a look at sports.
Of course, sports isn't what everybody's looking at right now. We're all looking to this guy to see what's going to happen next.
I'd much rather watch a football game or a basketball or a baseball game, whatever it may be.
Just not hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Although if you're in the cozy confines of your own home, it's not such a bad thing, right?
True. I just don't want to see any more ice, actually.
No.
So.
And it'll really start to melt as we head through the daytime tomorrow and likely be gone by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday. And here's why. Look at the warm-up coming our way. Low to mid-50s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which, believe it or not, is still a little bit below average, just significantly warmer than where we have been. Then 60 on Monday, then sky's the limit on Tuesday and Wednesday, 70 for a high on Tuesday. Back into the mid-70s as we head through Wednesday. Over the next 6 or 7 days, the only chance of rain is actually on Friday night, a very small chance of a few showers. Otherwise, it's dry through the weekend and warming up. And that 70 never looks so good.
Yes, it looks
Can't
great.
wait.
And that's a chance of rain.
Small
Friday
chance
night.
of rain. We will be nowhere near the freezing mark on Friday night, so no worries there.
Good deal.
All right. Well, we have gotten word that we are hopeful our transmitter may be back up and running. A backup generator has arrived, and they are setting that up right now. So we're hopeful that will be back up and running by about 8 o'clock tonight on WPDE. So hopefully we'll see you back here for your news at 11.
That's right.
Or not here, not on Carolina Live, actually on WPDE for your news at 11.
But thank you for clicking in and watching us tonight. We'll hopefully see you at 11.